So, good afternoon student. Today we are discussing the another cooling system management. What is the name? It is called as the pump or force circulation system. So, this is the pump or force circulation system. So, what is here? If you observe from the name, in this system the circulation of the water is obtained by a pump. Means with the help of the pump the water is circulated. This pump is driven by means of engine output shaft through a V belts, that is called as the pump circulation system. So, this system is similar to the what is thermo siphon system. Thermo siphon system. Okay. Above, with the only difference, the pump is used to circulation of the coolant and thermostat is employed to control the flow of coolant. The pump is driven by means of belt from an engine crankshaft. The belt is run with the help of this engine crankshaft. The drive for the fan is also obtained from the same belt and drive the pump and the generators. Okay. So, this is the diagram of the pump circulation system. This is the engines, this is the pump, this is the thermostat, hose pipe, filter, radiators, fan, this is the bypass and this is the pump. Okay. You know here what is the pump is drive by means of the belt from the engine crankshaft. Okay. The belt is run with the help of the crankshaft. Okay. And there is also the thermostat is employed to control the flow of coolant. Means this thermostat which is used for what is to control the flow of coolant, guys. So, if you observe here, this system has the following advantage over the thermosiphon. What is the advantages? If you observe here, the circulation of the coolant is proportional to the both load and speed. This is the first advantages. Second is what is circulation of the coolant is positive and hence more efficient, due to which smaller water jackets. There is a required the small water jackets, guys. Unlike the thermosiphon system, it is necessary to place the radiator header tank at the above the engine levels, and then even the radiator need not to place in front. It can be placed on the side or near the rear if the design condition so required. And what are the disadvantages? System is more complicated and costlier. So, this is the disadvantages of this force circulation cooling system, that is called as the pump circulation system, guys. Okay. Now, another is what is water cooling system. So, if you consider in water cooling, so what is you observed? So, water cooling system mainly consists of the following components. One is the what is radiators, then another what is pressure cap, expansion reservoir, then thermostat, water pump, fan, water jackets. So, these are the components of the water cooling system. So, if you consider in this diagram water cooling system using thermostat valves. So, let us we discuss this how to its work, guys. You see here water cooling system. So, this is the radiator, this is the thermostat, this is the pump and this is the engines. Okay. So, water cooling system for 4-cylinder engines. So, this is what is you observed here. This is the filler cap, upper tank, radiator tubes, lower tanks, thermostat valve, fan, bypass pipe, drain tap, water pump, hose pipe, water jacket around the cylinders, and these are the cylinders 1, 2, 3 and 4. Okay. So, this is the constructions of the water cooling system, guys. So, in if you observe in a water cooling system, how it will be work. So, we know that the engine is run with the help of the engine, the pump will be run, guys, theirs. Then after that the pump is run, then this pump is pump the cold water, which is from the lower tank with the help of this water pump. This will be circulated along all the cylinder heads. After the cooling, with the help of this hose pipe through the thermostat, once again enter into this upper tank, and from this upper tank once again is come through the radiator tubes through a lower tanks. Okay. So this is the simple construction and working of this water cooling system of a 4-cylinder engines. Okay, very simple construction and working. This is the bypass pipe. With the help of this thermostat valve to control or regulate the flow of waters. Okay, and engine will be cool with the help of this water, guys. So there is a radiator tube. We know the function of the radiator. This is the radiator tube will be there. The function of the radiator to ensure the close contact of the hot cooling come out the engine with the outside the airs. So we know there is a air is also flow in this way. So there is a contact so as to ensure high rate of heat transfer from coolant to the airs. So from this coolant which is passed through the radiator tubes, the heat will be removed with the help of the air. So radiator is consist of upper, that is called as this header tank core, and lower it is called as this collector tank. Beside there is a one overflow pipe will be there in the header tank, and drain pipe. If you observe here, there is a one drain pipe in the lower tank are provided. Hot coolant from the engines. If you consider this is our complete engines, from the hot coolant is come from the engines and enters at the radiator at the top end. Okay, there is a enters. Okay, and is cooled by the cross flow of the airs. Means there is a cross flow. Means they are perpendicular. This is the air flow and this is the coolant flow. This is the air flow and this is the coolant, means which is circulated. So there is a cross flow. So while flowing down the radiator, the coolant collects in the collector tank. Okay, this lower tank, and from where once again pump to the engine for cooling arrangements. So they are this is the simple working and construction of this water cooling system. So there is a, if you observe these radiators, this is the diagram. Okay. So main function is to ensure the close contact of the hot cooling coming out of the engine with outside airs. It mainly consists of upper or this header tank. Okay, lower tank at the bottom. Upper tank is connected to the water outlets from the engine jackets by the hose pipe, and lower tank is connected to the water jacket inlet to the water pump by means of the hose pipes. So there are two types of the radiators, guys. We have the classification of the radiators. If you consider in the radiators, so how it is classified. One is the tubular types, another is a cellular type. So these are the two types of the radiator, guys, we have. So in the former, if you observe here, when water is flowing down through the radiator core, it is cooled partially by the fan which is blow the air and partially by the air flow developed by the forward motion of the vehicles. In this diagram, if you observe here, okay, air and both the coolant will be used. As shown in through the water passage and air passage, water and air will be flowing for the cooling purpose. So it is noted that the radiators are generally made out of coppers and brass. Their joints are made by the soldering, because copper and brass are high heat transfer material. That's why we can use these materials. So this is the diagram of the tubular radiator sections and circular radiator sections. So from this there is a air is passage. Okay, through this section also rectangular. Water passage at the top portion, this pipe water will be circulated. This is the water passage system, and through it there is a air passage. Here there is a water passage, and in between gap there is a air passage. So this is the circular type or radiator, is a tabular types. Then after that we have the pressure cap and expansion reservoirs. So pressure cap and expansion reservoir means what is? Radiator fill neck in the modern using cover with a pressure cap, which forms an airtight joint. The coolant is maintained at some pressure higher than atmospheres. If you observe here like that, this is the design of the pressure cap, guys. Here, okay, pressure cap. This is the pressure cap which is used in the radiators. Okay. This is the internal design. This is a core, overflow pipe, vacuum wall, gasket, blow off wall, radiator upper tank. Okay. So the engine can operate at higher temperature without boiling the coolants. The preparation of the air fuel mixtures improve at the higher operating temperatures. So with a seal cap, loss of the coolant due to the evaporation or surging is prevented, which make the system particularly useful in the deserts also. Okay, and this is the construction and working. We know the when a seal cap or lose the coolant due to the evaporation or surging, which make the system particularly, we know the use in desert at a high altitudes. If you going in very high altitude, atmospheric pressure is low, which cause the coolant is boil, because we know the pressure is decreases, temperature is also decreases. PE we know directly proportional to T. So because of the less pressure in high altitude, so due to the coolant is also boil. So avoid all these things, you have to require there is a pressure cap. Okay. So thus under server working condition at high altitude during the steep climb, the coolant in the radiator may boil. Okay, whatever the coolant which is present inside, they start the boil. So avoid all these things, we require the pressure cap. So if the system is open to the atmosphere, what happen with the pressure cap? Higher pressure is maintained inside and irrespective of any change in the atmospheric pressure, thus the avoiding the overheating while driving at higher altitude, and thus maintaining the coolant efficiency of the systems. Okay. So pressure cap as shown in figure, if you observe in all this figure, it contain pressure valve. If you observe, there is a pressure valve and a vacuum valve will be there. Okay. When due to the server working condition, the coolant start boilings and vaporize, the pressure in the system exceeded certain predetermined value up to, if you consider 50 to 100 kilopascals, the pressure blow up valve, this pressure blow up valve is open and releasing the excess pressure to the atmospheres, guys. Okay, atmosphere through the overflow pipe will be there, through the overflow pipe from the system. Okay, through the atmosphere, the pressure blow up valve is opens and releasing the excess pressure in the atmosphere through this overflow pipe. On the other hand, if due to any reason sudden cooling of a hot radiator or vacuum is created, okay, we know due to the sudden cooling, vacuum is created inside the, then a vacuum valve is operates to avoid the collapse of the radiator, and this valve is usually set to operate when vacuum exceeds about how much it is 5 kilopascals. And actual pressure cap as shown in, we know that this is the design of the pressure cap. So it is important to remember that the pressure cap should never be open when radiator is still hot. Suppose this is very hot, you cannot be open, because on the removing the cap, suppose if you remove the cap, the pressure in the cooling system will suddenly drop, the pressure is suddenly drop will be there, causing the boiling point of the coolant to be decreased all of sudden, and this cause coolant to start boiling immediately, which may spill over and burn anyone standing nearby severely. So further, in case of loss of the cap, the replacement cap must be same pressure rating as the original one. In modern engines, instead of overflow pipe, expansion reservoir is used. Okay, this is the expansion reservoir is provided. This is connected with the radiators. Okay, this is the directly connection with the radiator, that is receive the excess coolant. Okay, this receive the excess coolant, and the engine temperature is increases. When the cooling water is cooled down, its volume is also decreases. We know the, and if the coolant in the reservoir returns to the radiator, okay, once again return to the radiator, keeping the system full of coolant. The reservoir is usually made of translucent plastic, so that can indicate the level of the coolant anytime. Such system is also known as coolant recovery system, and it has the following advantages. We know that there is no loss of coolant due to the overflow of account expansion. This is the first advantages. Second is, as air does not enter the cooling system, okay, air not enter the cooling system. With this arrangement, corrosion of the cooling jackets and passengers and deterioration of the antifreeze is reduced appreciably, and relatively smaller upper tank may be with the radiators. Okay, so this is the very simple explanation of the radiator, guys. So another is, what is, there is a thermostats. We know the function of the thermostat to keep a rigid control over the cooling. Therefore thermostat is used, which is automatically keeps the cooling water temperature at a predetermined value. It also helps the engine to reach the operating temperature as soon as possible after starting the engines. It is a valve which prevents the flow of water from engine to the radiator, so that engine is radially reaches to its maximum efficiency operating temperature. After attaining a maximum efficient operating temperature, it automatically begins functioning. Generally, it prevents the water below the 70 degree Celsius. Okay. So, these are the simple type of the thermostat. What are the types in automobiles? One is the Bellows or Android type, second is wax or historetics types. So, let us first of all we consist the Bellows or Android types. So, it consists of metallic bellows. If you observe, there is a metallic bellows filled with some volatile liquid like what is there is a use liquid is what is acetone. Acetone volatile liquid is used. Alcohol is also used. Alcohol or ether which boil between 17 to 85 degree Celsius. A ball is attached to the one end of the bellows. This is the ball attached to the one end of the bellows, while to the other end is attached to the frame fits which is into the cooling passage. Okay, this is the diagram of this thermostat, guides. Thermostat is fitted in the coolant hose pipe at the end of the engine outlet. When engine after starting warming up, it is desired that cooling system should not operate, so that engine warms up early. So, during this period the thermostat valve remains closed because of the liquid inside, okay, as it has not changed in state and therefore does not exert any pressure on the valves. As the thermostat valve is closed with the coolant pump running, to avoid the excessive pressure built up, a part of the held up coolant is made to circulate back to the bypass to the by pump inlet. Okay, these are the whole construction here. But as the coolant temperature reaches the predetermined value, about suppose 80 degree Celsius, so liquid inside the thermostat is converted into vapor which exerts the pressure on the walls. Okay, which exert the pressure on the walls, which begins to open so that water circulation through the radiator is start. The valve then opens gradually further as the water temperature is rises. Okay, this valve is gradually further is open until is fully open at what is the temperature 90 to 95 degree Celsius. This valve is totally open, and thus thermostat control the flow of water through the radiator according to engine cooling requirements. So, in this type of the thermostat, the valve is movement depends upon the difference between the vapor pressure in the bellows, okay, at any given temperature and cooling system pressures. So, this is the working of the bellows or Android type. So, next is a wax type will be discussed in our next lecture, guys. Okay. So, thank you very much.